And looks like Braden Williams is going to get that 9.99, ladies and gentlemen. It is a 2.6 wind, but it says 9.99. What you know about that? That is a Texas wind. However, that boy excited. Braden Williams. .1022 was what it took last year, and that ain't good enough to hold it down.
What if the fastest sprinter in America right now isn't a pro or even in college, but an 18-year-old high school senior? A name you might not know yet, but one that track fans are shouting from the rooftops, because this kid didn't just break records, he obliterated them. He's not just fast, he's history-making fast. Born in 2007, Braden started his sprinting journey at Waxahachie High School in Texas. He ran a solid 10.72 seconds in the 100 meters as a freshman, a strong start for any young sprinter, but what happened next wasn't just improvement, it was a transformation. In 2023, Braden transferred to Duncanville High School, a powerhouse in Texas athletics. That move changed everything. With a top-tier coaching team and a competitive environment, Braden began tearing through personal bests and soon national records. By 2024, he was already catching national attention. At the USATF National Junior Olympic Track and Field Championships, he clocked a win-legal 10.14 seconds in the 100 meters. That wasn't just the fastest time in his age group, it was the third fastest wind-legal time in Texas high school history. Only legends like Matthew Bowling and Derek Florence had ever gone faster. People were beginning to ask, who is this kid? Then came March 20th, 25, the Texas A&M Blue Bonnet Invitational. Braden stepped onto the track and exploded off the blocks like he was shot out of a cannon. When he crossed the finish line, the clock read 9.99 seconds. Wind-aided? Yes. But still, he became just the fourth U.S. high schooler ever to break the 10-second barrier under any conditions. That kind of time usually comes from seasoned professionals, Olympic medalists. Braden? He was still worried about homework and prom, but Braden wasn't done shocking the world. On April 18th, 2025, at his regional high school meet, Braden ran a time so fast it made people question if the clock was broken. 9.82 seconds. Let that sink in. 9.82. Faster than most Olympic finalists. Faster than most college stars. Faster than any high schooler. Ever. Yes, the wind reading was plus 6.0 meters per second, which means it won't count as an official record. But that doesn't take away from the jaw-dropping fact. An 18-year-old high schooler just ran a time that would place him among the top sprinters in the world. This wasn't a one-off fluke either. Braden has consistently clocked under 10.20 seconds with multiple sub-10s, even under heavy wind. Analysts have started to notice a pattern. He isn't just explosive off the blocks. His top-end speed holds like a pro. His turnover, stride length, and control through the final 40 meters. Near elite level. In 10 races this season, his average time is 10.19 seconds. That level of consistency from a teenager is almost unheard of. He's not chasing numbers. He's chasing immortality. And the impact he's making isn't just limited to the track. Coaches from all over the country are now studying his form, his starts, and his top speed mechanics. Video breakdowns of his races are being used in coaching clinics. Young sprinters are watching him and dreaming bigger, training harder. Braden has unintentionally become the blueprint. He's even being discussed on forums and podcasts typically reserved for pro athletes. Commentators are questioning how a high schooler could demonstrate this level of poise, efficiency, and raw power so early. It's more than just natural talent, it's calculated evolution. So what makes Braden Williams different? It's not just genetics or raw speed, it's mindset. In interviews, Braden is cool, calm and focused. He's not obsessed with social media fame or overnight stardom. He talks about execution, about form, about visualizing the race before it happens. He approaches sprinting like a chess player.
Yeah, Braden Williams, Duncanville.
Santa and the Texas
10:01,
Esports
I
League,
think.
presented by Baylor
It's weird.
University.
You don't win, but that's a great performance. Are you satisfied or no?
I'm never satisfied. I feel like it's almost, it's a whole lot of work to be done.
Always thinking 5 moves ahead. And he's got the support to back it up. Duncanville has built a reputation for developing top-tier athletes, and Braden has embraced that pressure. He's training like a pro, studying film, tweaking mechanics, doing recovery work most high schoolers wouldn't even think about. He's also grounded by his family, who've kept him focused amid all the attention. Coaches say he's the first one at practice, the last one to leave. That hunger, that humility, that's what separates the sprinters who fizzle out from the ones who go all the way. And speaking of going all the way, Braden is headed to the University of Georgia, a powerhouse program with a history of grooming champions. With that kind of collegiate setup and his work ethic, the sky isn't the limit. It's just the beginning. Already pro scouts and Olympic coaches are watching. Some believe he could go straight to the Olympic trials and make a final. Others think he should take his time, build strength, and dominate the college scene first. But one thing everyone agrees on, Braden Williams is no ordinary high school athlete. He's a generational talent. His rise is sparking comparisons to legends. When Matthew Bowling ran sub-10 as a high schooler, the world stopped. Braden is now in that same league, maybe even beyond it. His times, consistency, and form are all pointing in one direction: global domination. Track and field has always been about moments, flashpoints, a single race that makes you go, "Who was that?" For Braden, that moment has already happened. And the scary part? He's still improving, still learning, still growing. The sprinting world is evolving. New names are emerging, but few are doing what Braden is doing at his age. He's not just a name to remember. He's the name to watch. Because when you run 9.82, wind or not, you've already crossed the line most dream of. You've told the world, I'm here, and I'm not slowing down. So what comes next? With state championships on the horizon and college just ahead, Braden's schedule is stacked. He'll likely face tougher competition, bigger stages, and more scrutiny. But everything so far suggests he's ready. Ready to challenge records, ready to break expectations, ready to change the game. So keep your eyes on the starting blocks, because the next time Braden Williams explodes down the track, it might not just be a high school record falling. It might be the sound of a new era beginning. And if you blink, you'll miss it. Think Braden's just getting started? Hit that like button, drop a comment, and make sure you're subscribed, because this sprinting story is far from over.
Murphy, but here comes Gout. We knew we'd see this in the final 50, so let's watch the young superstar rise. He's flying. He will be Gout of this universe.
He broke Usain Bolt's record at just 16, then ran a 200-meter so fast it shouldn't even be possible. But the craziest twist? He didn't even win the spotlight for the race. At just 17 years old, Gout did something most sprinters only dream of. He ran faster than a young Usain Bolt. But that's only the beginning of the story. In a whirlwind of trackside drama, record-breaking performances, and Olympic dreams, this teenage phenomenon from Australia is turning the sprinting world upside down. Born in Queensland to South Sudanese parents who migrated to Australia in 2005, Gout's rise has been nothing short of meteoric. With a name that's impossible to forget and speed that's impossible to ignore, Gout became a household name almost overnight. And it wasn't just because of his talent, it was because he dethroned a legend. At the Australian Schools Championships in Brisbane, Gout stunned everyone by running the 200 meters in a blistering 20.04 seconds. That wasn't just fast, it was history in the making. That time didn't just break personal bests. It smashed 2 major records: Usain Bolt's under-17 world mark of 20.13 seconds and Australia's national record of 20.06 seconds set by Peter Norman back in 1968. In one unforgettable sprint, Gout etched his name into 2 record books, proving he's not just fast, he's historic.
Go here, Gout. He's already got the stagger, so he moves right on past Chase Grant, and now we really start to open him up. So let the legs loose and let the kid run. He is absolutely gone. He is Gout of this world.
But he wasn't done yet. At the 2025 Australian Athletics Championships in Perth, Gout lined up for the 200-meter final with one goal: to go even faster. And that's exactly what he did. He crossed the finish line in a jaw-dropping 19.84 seconds. The crowd went wild, the cameras flashed, and commentators were nearly speechless. It was the kind of moment athletes train a lifetime for. But there was a catch.
We knew we'd see this in the final 50, so let's watch the young superstar rise. He's flying. He will be Gout. It says, "Hey world, this is me."
The tailwind during that race was plus 2.2 meters per second, just above the legal limit for record validation. That meant the 19.84 couldn't go down in the books as an official record. Still, it was the second fastest time ever run by an under-20 athlete in any conditions. Legal or not, it was a statement. Gout was here, and he was coming for everything. Yet the race wasn't just defined by the stopwatch. It was also marked by an unexpected and emotional moment of sportsmanship. Lachlan Kennedy, Gout's main rival and fellow Aussie sprinter, false-started and was disqualified before the race even began. For any athlete, especially one in peak form, it's a crushing way to exit. But what Kennedy did next surprised everyone. He ran over to Gout after the race, not out of frustration, but to embrace and congratulate him. The gesture went viral. In a sport often defined by competition and ego, this show of respect stood out. Two competitors, one moment of unity. And that unity mattered because both Gout and Kennedy had entered that race hoping to make history together by breaking the 20-second barrier. Gout made it. Kennedy, due to the false start, would have to wait. But the respect between them told the world this wasn't just a rivalry, it was a shared mission. "Feels really good. That's what I've been chasing," said Gout of smashing through the 20-second barrier. It's hard to ignore the comparisons to Usain Bolt. The towering Jamaican sprinter set the gold standard for speed, and anyone running close to his times is bound to draw parallels. But Gout isn't interested in being the next Bolt. He's made it clear. He wants to build his own legacy, one that's rooted not in imitation, but in innovation. And he's well on his way. His recent performances haven't just caught the attention of the Australian media, they've made waves internationally. Track analysts, Olympic veterans, and even Bolt himself have taken notice. The excitement isn't just hype, it's recognition. Gout isn't a one-race wonder, he's a generational talent. But what makes Gout truly fascinating isn't just his times, it's his mindset. After a disappointing run just 2 weeks before his 19.84 performance, many athletes would have crumbled under the pressure. Not Gout. Instead, he used the setback as fuel. He trained harder, focused sharper, and delivered a performance that left even seasoned sprinters in awe.
Be Gout of this universe! Unbelievable too!
His journey is also part of a larger wave of rising Australian talent. Names like Cameron Myers, Jessica Hull, Rohan Browning, and Tori Lewis are rewriting what it means to be a track star down under. But even among that elite company, Gout stands out. His speed is jaw-dropping. His potential is limitless. And the future? It's already unfolding. Gout has his eyes set on the 2025 World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, where he'll go head-to-head with the world's best. Beyond that, his sights are firmly locked on the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics and the 2032 Brisbane Games. Those aren't just goals. They're the next chapters in a story that's just getting started. Even now, Gout continues to train with relentless intensity. His coaches describe him as unusually focused for someone his age, constantly breaking down race footage, obsessing over starts, and finding milliseconds to shave off. That drive is what separates a fast kid from a future legend. He's not just chasing records, he's engineering greatness. The excitement around Gout isn't limited to fans and coaches. Sponsorships and endorsements are beginning to follow, but his inner circle is cautious. They know the pressure that comes with fame, especially at such a young age. Still, those close to him say he's handling the spotlight with surprising maturity. His interviews are grounded, his goals are clear, and his work ethic speaks for itself. The global track community is watching. There's a hunger for the next big thing, and many believe Gout could be it. With every sprint, he's showing that speed isn't just a gift, it's a message. One that says, I belong on this stage. If anything is clear, it's this. Gout isn't waiting for the future. He's sprinting straight into it. With every race, he's redefining what's possible, not just for himself, but for every young athlete watching. And if 19.84 seconds is what he can do at 17, just imagine what's coming next. Because in a world where speed defines greatness, Gout isn't just fast. He's legendary in the making. Like and subscribe if you want to say you knew about Gout before he took over the Olympics.
Gout has broken the magical 20-second barrier as he took the 200-metre title at the Australian Athletics Championships in Perth.
A teenager with a name you've probably never heard just broke a 56-year-old record. He trains in silence, avoids the spotlight, and still managed to stun the entire athletics world. So who is Gout? And how did he get this fast, this young? The answer might surprise you. At just 17 years old, Gout is running faster than most professional sprinters twice his age. He's already broken national records, stunned the athletics world, and clocked times faster than Usain Bolt did at the same age. But behind the medals, headlines, and wind-assisted sub-10-second sprints is a deeper story. A story of raw talent, discipline, sacrifice, and a coach who's been through more than most. This is the story of Gout, Australia's next big hope in sprinting, and how he's torching the 200 meters like nobody expected.
Knew we'd see this in the final 50, so let's watch the young superstar rise. He's flying. He will be Gout.
Gout wasn't born into fame. He's the son of South Sudanese immigrants and grew up in Queensland, Australia. From a young age, Gout stood out, not because he was loud or flashy, but because he was fast, really fast. At Ipswich Grammar School, where he's still finishing year 12, Gout's speed quickly became impossible to ignore. Teachers, classmates, and eventually coaches started noticing. But the person who saw the biggest potential in him early on was Di Shepherd, the woman who would become his coach, mentor, and guiding hand. Di Shepherd isn't your typical athletics coach. She didn't come from an elite sports background. In fact, she used to work at Woolworths and then in a school uniform shop. She first started training athletes through her involvement in little athletics with her own kids. She didn't go to the Australian Institute of Sport. She wasn't part of the High Performance Network. But what she lacked in connections, she made up for with passion, discipline, and a no-nonsense approach. She noticed something special in Gout. Not just his speed, but his mindset, his ability to stay calm under pressure, his emotional intelligence. She says it takes about 4 years to really know an athlete, and she's been working with Gout for almost that long. Now let's talk numbers, because this is where Gout starts turning heads. In December, at the Australian All-Schools Championship, Gout ran 20.04 seconds in the 200 meters, breaking Peter Norman's national record that had stood since 1968. That record was older than Gout's parents. Gout ran the 200 meters in 20.04 seconds, which broke the 56-year-old Australian record held by Peter Norman and also surpassed Usain Bolt's personal best at the same age. In April, at the Australian Athletics Championships, he clocked a wind-assisted 9.99 in both his heat and the final of the 100 meters. Those times don't count as official records because the wind was too strong. But they prove one thing. He's getting dangerously close to running a legal sub-10. That's something only one Australian has ever done, Patrick Johnson, who ran 9.93 back in 2003. But greatness doesn't come without sacrifice. Coach Di Shepherd has made it clear, to compete at the top, you don't get to live like a normal teenager. Your social life will be non-existent, she told Gout years ago. And now, that's exactly what's happening. While most of his classmates are out with friends or relaxing after school, Gout is training 6 days a week. He does 2 gym sessions on top of that. And he still has to study for his final exams. I've been telling him for a couple of years that when we get to a set point, your social life will be pretty much non-existent, in the sense you just can't go out where you want, she says. He's at that point pretty much now, which is kind of tough when you think he's still at school. It's a heavy load, but he doesn't complain. Shepard's coaching style is tough, and it comes from her own tough past. She was hit by a car while riding a motorcycle and has had 11 surgeries on her leg. She